Hi everyone, welcome back to English with M. Today we are exploring a grammar point that confuses even advanced learners, the English subjunctive. The subjunctive shows up in formal writing, polite recommendations, hypothetical situations, and a surprising number of fixed expressions. Most learners recognize examples like, if I were you, and I suggest that he go, but they're not always sure why those forms are used. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand exactly when to use the subjunctive, how to recognize it, differences between UK and US English, and you'll be able to confidently use it in your own writing and speaking. Let's get started. What is the subjunctive? The subjunctive is a mood, not a tense. Tense tells us when an action or state happened, but a mood tells us the speaker's attitude or intent. And the subjunctive is for ideas that are not real, things that are necessary, important, imaginary, hypothetical, or desired. Let's start by looking at the present subjunctive. The present subjunctive is common in formal English, especially after verbs, adjectives, or nouns that express recommendation, importance, or necessity. It is also used in a number of fixed expressions, which you're going to learn today. But let's start by looking at how to use it after verbs of suggestion, recommendation, or demand. So this is our structure. We have our verb, followed by that and the subject, and then the base form of the verb. So this is how we form the subjunctive. We use the base verb. I suggest that you study more. The teacher recommended that we read the article twice. They demanded that he resign immediately. Now, it's not always obvious when the subjunctive is being used, because depending on the subject, it can look exactly like the present simple tense. So take this first example. You study. Well, that's the same in the present simple. And we read, also the same. But if we look at our last example, he resign. In the present simple, we would say he resigns, which is not correct in the subjunctive. So if we change our subject for the other examples, then you'll be able to see the difference more clearly. I suggest that she study more, not she studies. The teacher recommended that he read the article twice, not he reads. Now, all of these examples are positive, but how do we form the negative? Well, all we do is add not before the base verb. The teacher insisted that he not speak during the exam. I recommend that she not be disturbed while working. They demanded that the meeting not start until everyone arrived. Now let's see it after adjectives showing importance or necessity. So here's our structure. It, the verb to be, and our adjective, followed by that, the subject, and the base verb again. It is essential that you be on time. It is important that the report include all the data. It is vital that each member participate. Now let's see it after nouns expressing necessity or recommendation. We have our structure, noun, followed by that, the subject and the base verb. Her requirement is that everyone submit their work early. The proposal is that the team work remotely next month. It is my recommendation that he continue to lead the project. Now, you can see that all these examples are quite formal. You don't hear the present subjunctive used that much in casual conversation. Now, I just want to point out here that there is a difference in UK versus US usage. So in the UK, it's common to replace the subjunctive with should and the infinitive. For example, they recommended that he should try harder. This is very common in all contexts, including writing. So you may well see this even in academic texts. And you might also hear the present simple. They recommended that he tries harder. But though this is common in conversation, it is avoided in writing. And this is a British thing. US speakers prefer the pure subjunctive. So they recommended that he try harder. Just a quick moment to say, if you're enjoying the lesson, if you've learned something, then please do take a second to like the video. It really does make a big difference. And if you like the way that I explain things, you might also like my other resources besides the YouTube channel. I've written a book on irregular verbs with an audio guide, another book on English verb tenses that you can get in both PDF and paperback from Amazon. And I've created a complete course for intermediate learners. Everything's currently on sale for Black Friday. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the links in the description. Let's get back to the lesson. A quick note for advanced learners, and that is that you can combine the subjunctive with the continuous form. You might read on the internet that it's not possible. It is. It is grammatically correct, but it's rare and it sounds quite formal. It's formed using be and then the verb with ing. It is important that the system be running while the tests are conducted. It is a requirement that you be living in England for the duration of the contract. And you can see from these examples that this is used to emphasize that an action should be in progress at a specified future time or period of time. So, while the tests are conducted, for the duration of the contract. Now, this is perfectly correct, but most people would probably just use a modal construction here and say something like, the system must be running while the tests are conducted, or you have to be living in England for the duration of the contract. So don't worry, this form is rare. You don't need to use it, but it's useful to recognize. Now, one structure that is very common is the passive subjunctive. The passive subjunctive is common in formal contexts because the subjunctive is formal and passive voice is also formal. So it's sort of a marriage made in heaven. It is formed with be and the past participle. It is vital that the documents be signed before Friday. So we don't make any modifications to be. We don't say it is vital that the documents are signed before Friday. No, be signed. The committee recommended that the law be revised. The manager requested that the report be sent immediately. Now we're going to look at some fixed expressions. Now, English has a number of fixed or formulaic expressions that use the subjunctive. For example, long live the king. Now, this is used to proclaim support for the monarch. This reminds me of that animated Disney film, The Sword in the Stone. Hail King Arthur, long live the king. I love that film. It reminds me so much of my childhood. I used to watch it just all the time on video as well, because I am that old. A similar one, God save the Queen. So this is like a prayer or formal wish for the monarch's safety. And this appears in the English national anthem, although now it's God Save the King. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King, etc. I won't sing it. So these two expressions are sort of used specifically to talk about the monarchy, but there are a number of expressions or idioms that are actually very common in everyday conversation. So let's start by looking at heaven forbid. This expresses a strong hope that something doesn't happen. Heaven forbid that there be another power cut during the operation. Notice that heaven forbid that plus the subjunctive is the traditional structure here. So heaven forbid is subjunctive, and then it's also traditionally followed by the subjunctive mood, that there be. Heaven forbid that anyone should get hurt during the demonstration. So here we have should. So this is a sort of British version, also very common. Now, we don't just use heaven forbid in formal contexts. It is also used informally to express mock horror, sarcasm, or playful exaggeration. Heaven forbid he do anything without announcing it on Instagram. Or heaven forbid he does anything without announcing it on Instagram. And notice that native speakers often drop the that and don't strictly follow the subjunctive in casual speech. So when we're using this informally, you could say he do or he does. Heaven forbid we run out of biscuits. That would be a disaster. Our next expression is be that as it may, and this is like saying, even though that's true. You accept that something is true, but it doesn't change your opinion. The hotel isn't perfect, but at least it's cheap. Be that as it may, I'd rather pay more and stay somewhere clean. So I acknowledge that it's cheap, but that doesn't change my opinion about wanting to stay somewhere else. The schedule's pretty tight. Be that as it may, we still have to finish the report by Friday. So I acknowledge that the schedule is tight, but that doesn't change the fact that we have to meet the deadline. And just to point out, schedule is a British pronunciation. In North American English, you will hear schedule. Schedule. Our next expression is come what may, and this means whatever happens. It expresses determination regardless of what happens. The train strikes might ruin our weekend plans. I'm seeing that concert, come what may. I've waited a year. Are you sure you want to apply for that job? It's really competitive. Yes, come what may, I'm giving it a shot. Whatever happens, I don't care about the result, I'm doing it anyway. Our next one is so be it. And this is like saying, it's not ideal, but okay. It's used to express acceptance or resignation. So you can't change it, but okay, fine. They've moved the deadline to Monday. Really? Well, so be it. We'll just have to work faster. So it's kind of like saying, it is what it is. It's not great, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Just going to get on with it. This next example, only cat lovers will understand. Looks like the cat has claimed your chair again. So be it. I'll sit on the floor. I don't actually have a cat, but I did have one growing up, and he was, as far as I was concerned, the king. So if he was sitting in a seat, then that was it. It was his seat, and no one was allowed to move him. Our next one is if need be. This means if it is necessary. We might miss the bus if we don't leave soon. That's okay. We can walk if need be, if necessary. Do we have enough drinks for the barbecue? I think so, but we can pop to the shops if need be. This verb pop, if you pop somewhere, then you go there quickly. So it's quite a British thing, I think, this one. Our next one is suffice it to say, or suffice to say. The it is optional. And this is like saying, it's enough to say. It's used to summarize without giving extra detail. How was your date last night? Suffice it to say, there won't be a second one. So I'm not going to give you the details, but just the main point. Did the family dinner go well? Suffice it to say, Uncle Tony wasn't at his best. So I'm not going into detail, but this is the main point. Our final expression is far be it from me. And this is like saying, I absolutely would not. I would never. It's used to express polite or humorous distancing. I'm thinking of giving the dog another treat. Far be it from me to judge, but that dog already eats better than we do. It basically means, well, I am judging you, actually, but sort of in a joking, funny way. I'm going to cut my own fringe tonight. Fringe is a British thing. So if you have your hair sort of like this on your forehead, but in North America, they call a fringe bangs. So you could say, I'm going to cut my own bangs tonight. Far be it from me to interfere, but do you remember what happened last time? So far be it from me to interfere means I am interfering. So that is the present subjunctive. Now we're going to take a look at the past subjunctive. This is used to talk about unreal or hypothetical situations. It's the same as the past simple, but with were for all subjects. So this is the only difference. I, we, you, they, he, she, and it were. Everybody and everything were. So we use this in the second conditional, and the second conditional is used to refer to the unreal present or future. Here's our structure. So we have if and the subject followed by the past subjunctive, which is the past simple form of the verb, except that we use were for all subjects. If I were taller, I'd be able to reach the top shelf. This is unreal. I am not taller, and I am not able to reach the top shelf. If I had more time, I'd read more. I do not have more time, so I can't read more. She'd tell you the truth if she were here. She's not here, so she can't tell you the truth. So we're referring to an unreal situation. I do have a series of videos about the conditionals, so if you'd like to learn more, check out the playlist in the description. And it's worth pointing out here that in spoken English, you often hear was used in the second conditional, but this should be avoided in formal contexts. So you might hear somebody say, well, if I was taller, but avoid that if you're doing an exam or you're in a formal situation. We also use the second conditional to give advice, and we use the structure, if I were you, I would da-da-da-da-da. If I were you, I'd take the job. If I were you, I wouldn't be so stubborn. I'd talk to him if I were you. So this is unreal. I'm not you. I can't be you. So it's a hypothetical situation, which is why we use the past subjunctive here. And it's less common to hear was in this case, because if I were you is a fixed expression, but you do still sometimes hear it, if I was you. But best avoid it in this case, because if I were you is fixed. The final use of the past subjunctive that we're going to look at is after wish, or if only, to express a desire for a different reality. Think a parallel world. The structure looks like this. So wish or if only is followed by the subject and then the past simple form of the verb. And if that verb is be, then we use were for all subjects. I wish I were lying on a beach in Thailand. So I'm not lying on a beach in Thailand. I'm sitting at home recording a video. I'm actually perfectly happy recording the video, but if somebody said to me, hey, we can teleport you to a beach in Thailand right now, I wouldn't say no. So this is my parallel world. If only I didn't have to work today. So here, past simple form, didn't have to. It's the past subjunctive, but it looks exactly the same as the past simple. And what's the difference between wish and if only? Well, if only is just a stronger form of wish. Final example. She wishes she were more confident. So she is not more confident. She is wishing for a different reality, a parallel world. And just like with the second conditional, in spoken English, was is often used, but it should be avoided in formal contexts. Let's just have a quick recap. So the present subjunctive is formed with the base verb, and in the UK, should followed by the infinitive is a common alternative. It is used after verbs of suggestion, recommendation, or demand, adjectives showing importance or necessity, nouns of necessity or recommendation. In fixed expressions such as heaven forbid, be that as it may, come what may, so be it. If need be, suffice it to say, and far be it from me. The past subjunctive is formed using the past simple, except that the verb to be is always were. It is used for unreal or hypothetical situations. For example, in the second conditional if clause, to refer to the unreal present or future. With the fixed expression, if I were you, to give advice. And after wish and if only, to express a desire for a different reality, a parallel world. And in spoken English, was is often used, but it should be avoided in formal contexts. So that is the complete guide to the English subjunctive. It's used in formal recommendations, fixed expressions, and hypothetical situations. And although English doesn't use it as much as some other languages, it is still an important part of grammar, especially at an advanced level. If you found the lesson helpful, if you learned something, then please do give it a like, and why not subscribe for more? And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And why not drop me a comment to let me know what you thought, and perhaps an example of the subjunctive, and I'll let you know if you got it right. And I just want to say a massive thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. And if you would like to support the channel and help me free up more time to spend making lessons like this for you, the best way to do that is to become a channel member, or you can buy me a virtual coffee using the link in the description. It really does make a big difference. See you in the next video.